Welcome back to another episode of the Ferris Sports Update. I'm your host, Harrison Watt. Today in the Ferris Sports Update, we'll catch up with linebackers coach for Ferris State football and new coach for the Ferris State Bulldogs, Ryan Partridge, as well as the director of strength and conditioning for Ferris State hockey, Dave Sensor. But first, glad to be joined by the brand new head women's basketball coach here at Ferris State University, Kurt Westendorp. Kurt, thanks for joining me.
Good to be with you.
Obviously, things this summer just all over the map in terms of what's going to happen with sports, but for you, I imagine being able to come to a new place gives you something a little bit to look forward to. How much of a positive was it to come to a new place, or I guess an old place for you, coming back the second time around, just to have something to look forward to?
It's been an exciting summer. So I know it's been a very different for all of us, but for me, I feel like I'm kind of the one coach that's in a different position from the rest of the coaching staff, and that, this is brand new. It's year one. You have that new energy. Anytime that you're at a place for the very first time in a new role, even though Ferris is very familiar to me, it just kind of energizes you. It gives you that sense of vigor and ready to get going and ready to build something.
I know you were very excited to come back, but what was it that really drew you back? Because I know your experience the first time around was pretty good, and you were on the last staff that went to an NCAA tournament before this past year's team also qualified.
Well, my wife and I, we were really enjoying our life in California. I had a really good school that I was working at, but we always knew that Michigan was a place that we wanted to get back to. And then when Ferris State became an opportunity, we just had to jump on it. Like, this wasn't just any other job for us to be looking at, because this is really a place that does feel like home to me. Those years that I spent here, even though it was only 2 years, from 2010 to 2012, like, Big Rapids really did become my home. So the players that were on that team and the coaches that I got to work with, both on our staff and the athletic department, they're just so welcoming, and it just makes you feel like this is a spot where you can win, and you can win the right way.
I know for you, obviously, a lot of faces have changed, but what's it been like being back in this athletic department in particular? I don't know most of, I would think, the faces have changed since you were last year, but a couple of familiar ones.
Well, luckily where my office is, Tia Brandel's office is right next door, and we used to be office mates. We used to see kitty corner from the assistant's office into hers, so she's been extremely welcoming, having her right there. Having Andy Bronkema be around still is great, because Andy and I both came in at the same time as full-time assistants. So those sports, it's nice to have those familiar faces, people that I can go to, especially during this time where I'm getting started and already have that trust built up. It's just a very welcoming place.
Obviously, you have a team that you inherit that went to the NCAA tournament for the first time, again, since you were here back in 2012. It's a program that did graduate a couple of key players, but talk to me about how you've been able to get in touch with some of these kids, because this is a group that really had started to take a big leap forward, and now you inherit this group that's got some high expectations. How did you get to know them over this summer, and what did you like about what you found out?
Well, we started right away. Like, that was the first calls that you make when you get a job, is you get the list of the phone numbers for the kids, because that's who you want to connect with. Really, as I talked to all the girls and got to know them a little bit more on a personal level, we talked a little bit about their experience last year, the growth of the team. I was able to kind of explain my experience with the program and talk about how, we don't want to be a program that makes the NCAA tournament every 8 years. It was 2012 when I was last here. They got to do it last year as 2020, and now they're really motivated to try to get back to the tournament and then have an opportunity to make some noise. So there's a lot of talent returning on the team. The team's going to look a little bit different, as you alluded to. There's a key departure in a couple positions, but we feel like we're really well positioned with the talent coming back and the talent that's coming in to be very competitive to get back to the tournament and then, like I said, make some noise.
A couple of the things that come to my mind are, obviously, the way it ended was really tough, but this is a team that, if you've seen the video, I mean, these guys really, really found a way to make this a positive as best they could. When you talk to them a little bit about the emotions of going through having the season shut down at the end, right when they had gotten to that goal, the thing they'd been striving for since Kendra Foston had taken over, have you talked to them about how they're healing from that and how it's motivating them a little bit?
Well, it's definitely a motivating factor. You talk to them about how they felt at first and kind of how it felt over the summer and kind of how they feel now. They've kind of been able to kind of ride those wave of emotions from the instant, tragic event of it's taken away from us to kind of accepting it, and then now having their eyes fixed on getting back there again. So now that the school year has started and everybody's back and we're in person, we've been able to see each other for a few of those meetings, you can tell that motivation's growing even more. It's kind of gone from the abstract over the summer to now it's real. We have our fingers on it and we're ready to attack it.
what can Bulldog basketball fans expect out of you as a head coach, and how does your style of coaching mesh with the talent that you have on this roster?
Well, for me, it's about helping these players grow. There's a lot of talent in that room. It's for me helping them grow and helping them fit together. So I really feel like that's my role, is just taking all those talented pieces and showing them how they can complement each other, how we can get more out of the team than just the talent. When we add it up, we want to be exponential, not just addition. So as a style of play, we want to be able to play quick. That's something that I think last year's team did a very good job of as they got up and down. I think they scored around 75, 77 points a game. We're going to be hopefully matching that and exceeding it. As a style of play, we're going to probably open up the court a little bit more. The graduation of Riley Blair on the inside kind of leaves a little bit of a hole, but we also return 2 all-conference players in Adrian Anderson and Mallory McCartney that are very talented. If we can give them a little bit more space to operate, I think they're going to be able to do some big things again this year.
What are some of the things that you're looking to improve about what you have right now? Obviously, you talked about some of the key departures. As with any new team, you do have 8 returners, which is definitely a plus, but what are some of the things that you guys are needing to improve to continue to stay near the top of the league?
Well, I think the very first thing that we have to do is really come together as a team. Because like you just said, there's 6 new players with the 8 returners, so this is a completely different team. So like right now, we know what we think some of the strengths might be and what we think some of the weaknesses could possibly be, but we won't really know until we get a chance to be on the court. That's another unique part of the situation we're in right now, is like I've not had the opportunity to be on the court with them. So in the next couple of weeks when we get on the floor for some of our small group workouts, I'm going to start to really see where these players can fit together, and then what those areas of need that we need to focus on for improvement. We'll figure that out really soon and we'll attack it.
As well as having a new head coach, a new assistant coach in Jasmine as well. What are you hoping to get out of her in terms of her role with the team and how she interacts with your players?
Jazz is going to bring just great mentorship for our young ladies. So Jazz is somebody that I've known since I recruited her out of high school, and she played a couple years for me at Valparaiso. When I moved on to be a head coach out in California, she also transferred and played her last couple years at Western Michigan. Her family has close Ferris ties. She's just a great person that can speak to our players at a different level than I can. She's very close removed from her playing days, where she was very successful, and she can just be that great sounding board. And she's a person and a family of just great character, so she's just going to bring so many positives to our program.
Well, Kurt, welcome to Ferris State. Congratulations on rejoining us again, and thank you so much for joining us. Can't wait to see your team back on the floor.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
When we come back, we'll talk Ferris State hockey with Dave Sensor next on the Ferris Sports Update.